Aloha, I'm Lyla Berg, and we're here at Aloha Stadium, ready to converse with the people who inform, inspire, and impact our daily lives. Thank you for joining us on Island Focus. Here we are on the field. It's just amazing. How many seats are there?
50,000, believe it or not. You can just soak it in. You can feel, the presence of the fans when they're here.
This is meant to be multi-purpose so that it would open up.
Yes.
How would that work?
You can still actually see it on the 50-yard line. It used to split open. The bridges used to come down, and concerts, soccer events were all held in that baseball configuration. But it's amazing that those bridges used to be able to come down.
Oh, really?
So that's how they used to do it. So they used to take the bridges down. So Scott said they used to have like an elevator shaft that would lock into place, and then they would come down, and then they would store it underneath
all of these bridges here. Wow.
Then they would store it underneath the tunnel, and then that's where they did the split right here.
And the AstroTurf looks brand new.
It is. We're going into our second season this year with our new synthetic turf. So we're really excited to have all of our youth to all of our adults be on this field.
And what do you envision will happen next?
Time will tell. This is definitely, Aloha Stadium is kind of our gathering place, and wherever we go from here, it's definitely going to be an exciting time.
I'm here at Aloha Stadium with Senator Glenn Wakai, and thank you for joining us, and thank you.
It's a pleasure to be here, Lyla.
This place means a lot to you, especially because, well, in addition to the fact that you represent this area.
I grew up in this stadium. I watched the Hawaii Islanders play baseball here. I sat right down here with my father growing up watching the UH football team. So it has a lot of meaning for me, but it also has great opportunity in my view. This is a 42-year-old facility, and I really think it's seen its heydays. And maybe at this point in 2017, it's time for us to really think how we are going to do performances, events, and see how we can maybe reinvent this entire 100 acres here at Aloha Stadium.
A few years ago, there was conversation about moving the stadium as well. And how do you continue that discussion in the community?
Well, I think that idea has kind of waned, and we are now focused on if we're going to build another 1,000-plus seat arena, that we're going to do it here on this area. I mean, there's easy ingress and egress for traffic. Issues such as noise that some communities don't want are not an issue here. And I've been massaging this community for the past 5 years, letting them know that something different, something dynamic is about to happen.
That's sort of your personality, though. Something different and dynamic and original and creative. That's my impression of you in the State Senate. And as Chair of Economic Development, are there ways to massage it?
Yes, I mean, in Hawaii, we don't like surprises, but we're open to change, but everybody wants to be part of the conversation. So I invited the community early on in 2012 that things are going to be changing here. And when we look at the stadium itself, it's not just building a new stadium, but all that's going to go around that stadium. So that's the stadium will be the flagship, but we can have restaurants, we can have theaters, we can have housing, we can have workforce, we can have a lot of things here, so that when this rail comes here, it's not going to just be the city's park and ride. This is going to be a destination. Give people a reason to get off here more than 6 times a year to watch a UH football game.
Could we add some early learning programs?
We can do whatever you want, Lyla.
How do you keep your enthusiasm, and your forward thinking?
I just think the public deserves better, and we just need to deliver. We can't. We have to learn from projects like the rail, where it's 100% taxpayer subsidized project. This, as it evolves, will be a public-private partnership that we're going to bring in private sector know-how, and we're going to bring in private sector money to reinvent this entire area and not burden and saddle the public with having to pay for a government facility.
Do you think that growing up with this stadium helped to support your optimism about life?
The stadium gives me something to cheer about, and I'm one of life's biggest cheerleaders. I always see that the glass is always half full, it's never half empty. And so by fixating on that, I can see that there are pathways for us to cut through to whatever troubles us. I mean, we have a stadium here that costs us $20 million a year to keep it upright, and we need to rethink how many more years are we going to pour investment into this facility. And we have the land clearance, we have the ability to have a clean slate for this entire 100 acres here at the stadium.
What I've always appreciated about you is that you're willing to learn and grow and explore, and all your traveling with your wife certainly enhances that.
To see how other people live and learn from some of the mistakes, like we don't want to do that, or like, wow, that is exciting, we need to do that vibrant approach to transit, housing, education, whatever it might be. But we always have to be moving in society and taking innovative, creative approach to government services.
Well, I'm very impressed that you also have your UH football t-shirt on.
Go Warriors, of course.
And I want to thank you always, for taking the time. And one parting thought.
Deserve to have innovative, creative ways for deliverance of traditional services. And I think that this particular location could be the template for how we develop other areas of Hawaii. So if we have all the green lights lined up, perhaps in 5 years we'll have dirt moving, and the construction of a new stadium, as well as the beginnings of the entire redevelopment of this Halava area.
Well, you certainly are a model of optimism and encouragement and being a cheerleader, and thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
We've been talking with Senator Glenn Wakai at the Aloha Stadium. Thank you for joining us. I'm here with David Matlin, University of Hawaii Athletic Director, and thank you for joining us. What a perfect place to have a conversation with you.
Yes, it is. Thank you for having me. It's a great day, too.
So as Athletic Director at the university, do you spend much time here?
Quite a bit, obviously, when we have football games and a lot of meetings throughout the course of the year. So to me, it's always an exciting place to come because it's just vibrant around here. Even when it's empty, there's energy here.
Well, chatting with you about your life, I think your life has been pretty vibrant, and definitely the role you play as Athletic Director has its challenges, but also its joys.
There's no question. It's an incredible opportunity, and kind of like in anything in life, you talk about what's your why for doing something. And to me, I mean, it's a big enough why just to impact 500 student athletes. I mean, that's big enough by itself, but it's bigger than that. I mean, it's impacting the university. We're kind of the front porch for the university and branding it. And in Hawaii, we're unique to any other school in the country where we're kind of it here for Division I sports here. So we're not just playing for your teammates, for your school, but also for the whole state. And it's an incredible responsibility. It's also, it's a challenge also.
And we have so many sports at the university that many other places don't have, which requires travel costs and equipment and other considerations. You have to deal with that too, right?
Yeah, I think in Hawaii, I think it's true for any business or any entity in Hawaii is, our greatest blessing is our geography. Our greatest challenge is our geography. I mean, we have probably about 7 million in unique costs because of our geography. But because of that, a lot of people want to come here. And like I said, we're a great window for tourism and a great window to bring people from other places to experience, the Aloha spirit and what Hawaii has to offer.
And with the variety of sports that we have, and we have many champions, national champions as well. Do you get to travel to the mainland and enjoy them winning?
I wish I traveled more for sporting events and not for other meetings, but I go to most road football games, and I'll go to like when our men's volleyball team played at Columbus, Ohio, for the national championship as a Final Four team. 2 years ago, I went to Alabama to watch our beach volleyball team play in the semifinals there too. So usually it's for tournaments mainly, and I go to road football games. That's the fun part of the job.
Yes, of course. And what would you like us to know about the university athletic program?
I think the main thing is we have 500 pretty amazing student athletes. I mean, these are people, as a body, our average grade point average is better than the average in the campus. It's over 3.0, cumulatively and last semester. Our volleyball team last year was recognized is one of the top academic programs in the country, and they're one of the top teams in the country. Their grade point average is over 3.3. Our soccer was over 3.5. We have a Nobel Peace Scholar, Marie Claire Anderson, who is a volleyball player who's in Europe right now. And she was worried that she was going to miss some summer practice, and her coach said, you got to go.
Yeah.
I mean, and then Makani, a football player last year, he was the Division I National Hero of the Year. I mean, these are great stories, and I mean, being a student athlete, there's an educational component about it. I think most employers, they're looking for people who are good with their time, who can work good in a team, and I think that's something that our coaches provide, that educational component.
What you bring, I think, to the program is this great pride that I feel from you of just being part of something much bigger than we could imagine.
I'm thankful. I didn't know, I didn't anticipate to be the athletic director of University of Hawaii when I moved here back in 1993. I worked in the department for 6 years in the ticket office, and I'm a proud graduate of University of Hawaii. I got my master's at the Scheidler College before it was the Scheidler College. So I do have a lot of pride, and I think the University of Hawaii is a pivotal point of the whole state, and I think it's a source of pride, and I think it's a difference-making institution.
Well, you definitely make me feel proud about being part of Hawaii, and I want to thank you for your time and wish you the best of sporting luck. I guess there's no such thing as luck in sports, though, right?
You got to make your own.
Yeah, great. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us, David Matlin, University of Hawaii Athletic Director. I have the pleasure of chatting with Ross Yamazaki, who's board chair of the Stadium Authority. Thank you for hosting us in your beautiful stadium.
Thank you for coming. Thank you for having me.
As board chair, what does that mean?
I sit as a chair of a 9-member board, which is appointed by the governor, a volunteer board to help ensure the mission of the stadium and the Stadium Authority, which is to serve the community, I guess. It's something that you volunteer at, so it's something that you have to be passionate about. But I think the symbol of what Aloha Stadium is and what it was here to created for, to inspire the youth and provide a venue for a community gather is a really good one, I think.
Most of us think of football being the primary activity in the stadium, and you played football for the University of Hawaii.
A long time ago, yes.
In this stadium.
Yes, a long time ago.
It must feel very special to come back now and honor the place that gave you so many great memories.
Yes, it is, and I'm very passionate about it because I lived it. I lived next to the old stadium, and was came to the games when the new stadium was built. Dreamed of being a Warrior, put on the uniform, got on the field, and now in a position that I can help the state and our community keep that legacy going.
So what's next for the stadium?
We're at a really interesting time for the stadium. The stadium's over 40 years old, and being a steel building in Hawaii, there's a lot of repair and maintenance. So we're recently going through some discussions to develop the stadium. And something that's really, really exciting is that there were some deed restrictions on the property that restricted the use, and now that's been lifted through a lot of hard work by many, many people. The whole site is open for development, and we can look at the stadium not as just a stadium, a facility itself, but what the stadium can represent as far as entertainment and community value.
And what you're really talking about is change.
Yes, change.
Huge change.
Big change, yes.
How are you going to navigate that?
Well, with the help from a lot of people. And the authority's been very fortunate so far that there's been a lot of partnering effort with HART and the rail, because their station is going to be here, so it's allow multimodal transportation to the site with the TOD people at the city, and they're looking at development around a rail station, which is really exciting in that sense, where a stadium could be a primary anchor for this rail station. And there's a bunch of other agencies that's been coordinating, as well as the community and the neighborhood boards, to work with a vision for the future for the stadium site.
Your career as an architect, your profession as an architect must serve you very well in your position as board chair.
Yeah, I think that was part of what I felt I could bring of value to the board, understanding that development was in the future, and understanding structures.
And design.
And design, yes.
Right? I mean, what I know to be true about architects is they're looking not just to be creative and functional, but also what feels inviting.
Yes, I think the word, we were talking before about Aloha Stadium. I think it's going to be really, really important, whatever happens to the stadium and the stadium development, that word is more than just a word on the stadium, but something that is designed for in everything that we do as far as how it functions, how we use it.
Well, it'll be very interesting to see what it'll look like, because I remember the Pro Bowl days when, you know, the fireworks would go off and the jets would come by, and is that still part of a new idea?
I think the market's changing with regard to sports. From what we understand from our consultants, the sports entertainment venues where there's a lot of mixed-use development around the stadium is what it's moving to. Fans don't come out as much for single games because there's so many different ways to experience. But I think there's value in, again, the Aloha Stadium, and if there's a mixed-use development and what we can do within the community, and the stadium plays an important role, yeah.
Well, thank you for giving us some thoughts to think about and some ideas about the change.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
We've been chatting with Ross Yamazaki, Board Chair of the Stadium Authority here at Aloha Stadium. We're here at Aloha Stadium conversing with Donalyn Dela Cruz, who's Director of Communications for the Hawaii State Department of Education.
Oh, mahalo for having me. It's good to talk about
here we are in the bright sunlight.
Yes.
You probably don't see that very often in your role.
Well, actually, in communications, what we try to do is get out into our schools. And so we have 256 public schools, 34 which are public charter schools. But we try to get out there so we can learn about our schools and tell stories. So we're looking for stories about our students.
What I know to be true about you is that you find the positive in everything. So in this role that you have as communications director, there's a lot of pressures as well.
There is. I mean, the Department of Education is in Hawaii. Used to be the largest state agency. We're now the second next to DHS, the Department of Human Services. But it's a large system. So when you come in and you're taking a look at 25,000 employees and then 180,000 public school students, it's a lot to filter through. So there's a lot of communication that needs to take place so that our different audiences, whether it be staff, parents, teachers, principals, complex area superintendents, and then of course our students. And so we know that at the end of the day, we want to serve our best customer, and that's our students.
So as a director of communications, how do you integrate all those different role groups in your messages?
I started in 2012, and I kind of came on board, and I'm a proud public school graduate. And so it's a big thing for me to say that I am a graduate of Ō'lelo High School because I'm proud of it. And there are so many great things happening in our public school system that I just don't think is getting enough coverage. And I was just telling this to someone the other day, like when they see our newsletters, so after learning everything that we're doing in our system, we have 3 different e-newsletters, one that's actually a hard copy newsletter as well. We revamped our website, so it's hawaiipublicschools.org. We are very active on social media, where if anybody tunes into our Facebook page, they're just gonna see tons of stories of public school students, teachers, principals, the engagement that's happening in our school communities. And people might say, wow, it's so nice to see positive school stories about public schools or positive stories overall. And I started to think, well, actually, it's just stories, but we're so used to hearing or tuning into the negative that you forget that there's a whole lot going on in our public school system. And I think we need to talk more about it.
And the news media, as
Yes.
you know from your professional jobs that you've had in the past, focuses on what's wrong. It seems that what you're looking at is what's right.
Yeah, there's
And
a
what we
lot
can
of
do.
right. There's a lot of right. And I think also it's the building the morale, right? So when they start hearing the negative, then all of a sudden they start to perpetuate this societal myth that public schools aren't good enough, when it's actually the opposite. Public school systems across the country, it's the great equalizer. We're providing education to educate all students. And that's the great thing about public school systems. You can come into any school, there's all types of different backgrounds of students. And the engagement within that of learning what student leaders do, you know, students who are just trying to make their way through life and trying to see that our public school system, when they go to school, it's a safe place. We serve over 3,000 homeless students, for example. When they come to school, they're getting their meals. They have friends that support them, students, teachers, counselors, principals. It's a safe place for them, and they're part of our community.
And because it's such a large budgetary need, you have a lot of partners as well.
Partnerships are essential for the success of our schools because, as you know, the state can only fund so much. There's many agencies that they're trying to divvy up all of the money. So when we're able to get business to invest in schools, the return on investment is really the workforce. It's our future workforce in Hawaii. And so more businesses are investing in us. We're seeing more early college programs, partnerships with businesses that are giving students opportunities. It's wonderful.
And the focus on service learning, and
Service
the focus on helping communities help themselves.
Yes. So, and that's also about school communities. So schools are the centers of communities, right? And it's expanding that. So for example, I was visiting Lunalilo Elementary the other day, and they have this beautiful mural about sustainability. But the principal was explaining this is a community mural because it was the businesses around us that gave the funding so that we could have this. So when you look at the mural, it's not just a school mural, it's about their community.
Well, thank you for your enthusiasm and for all the information you share with us on a regular basis on all sorts of media. We've been chatting with Donalyn De La Cruz, Director of Communications with the Hawaii State Public School System.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
What do we have here?
So we were actually lucky enough to be able to partner with the Hawaii Sports Hall of Fame. You know, being Hawaii's largest open air facility, we really wanted something that we could showcase all of our special athletes, coaches, you know, representatives that have played such an important role here. So we were able to partner with them to be able to let Hawaii of all, you know, ages be able to come out and see it.
And so many different sports.
Yes.
Not just what was played at the stadium.
Exactly. It's amazing to just take some time to walk through here. They have things from the early 1900s to now. So exactly, sumo. Everyone just assumes, you know, surfing is your thing or football, but there's so much more to this, and each, you know, athlete or representative really does have a unique story that we love to be able to share with everybody.
Yes, and how did this come about?
You know, we actually were able to work with them many of years ago, and we kind of had it off to the side. But when we tried to create this museum area for the stadium, we really invited them to be able to showcase, you know, all of this that we have. And we were lucky, I would say probably about 5 years now, been able to open this up to everyone.
Fabulous. We have a great opportunity to talk with Conrad Nonaka of the Culinary Institute of the Pacific. That's a long title.
Well, thank you.
For a new program.
Yes, this is the Advanced Culinary Training Program on and beyond the current 2-year, which the 6 programs on the 4 major islands under the community colleges offer. So students will be able to apply for their 3rd-year professional certificate at the Culinary Institute Pacific at Diamond Head. Basically, it's an extension thereof of the Kapi'olani Community College program and all of the other 5 programs. In accordance to industry, you know, what's happening within the industry as far as Hawaii food has come over the last 20 years. And we want to make sure that education perpetuate what has been developed as Hawaii's cuisine. So the chefs are really into the aspect of utilizing local ingredients in their training and really meeting up to the trends of what industry needs are to make sure that we can take care of our hospitality industry.
The location of this institute on the slopes of Diamond Head,
Right.
and beautiful view that used to be the Cannon Club.
That's right.
Fort Ruger, actually. Was that specially selected for this institute?
You know, the opportunity came a few years back when the federal government asked the university, or DLNR, I should say, asked the university if they were interested in offering educational means. And we had the backing of the Diamond Head Citizen Advisory Committee, who monitors the Diamond Head Master Plan. And it really took off in that sense. And we got the approval from the Board of Regents to assign it to be the Culinary Institute Pacific for advanced training on and beyond the Kapiolani program.
You know, my experience of you is as an educator.
Mm-hmm.
Did you ever think you would be in this position?
No, I really am honored to be a part of this. I got my degree from the University of Hawaii, Manoa, after my culinary degree and my military service, utilizing the GI Bill. Mm-hmm. And so when I had the opportunity to teach, I knew that someday I'll be working in the industry, but I would return to share what I've learned with the students. Never in my life would have thought that I'll be taking the lead in bringing this project to fruition. So it's really an honorable thing for me to be a part of this.
And even as an educator professionally, you were in the hotel industry.
Yes, I had 20 years with Sheraton and Starwood hotels. I worked all throughout Hawaii, Boston, the mainland, and basically my last assignment was in Asia. I was in Taiwan with the Asia Pacific Division as a general manager. And basically in between Taiwan and my next assignment in Philippines, John Morton recruited me out of Starwood to help him with this project.
What would you like people, not just young people, mm-hmm. because the Institute is open to graduates, what would you like people to know about this Institute?
I'd like people to remember that this is going to be a great opportunity, not only for the future generations of students, but the resources that's being built is going to provide the current industry leaders, the chefs of the industry, to be able to come in and be training chefs to help with the advanced culinary training. But we will also provide the opportunity to invite the very best from the world, whether they're great, renowned chefs or professionals, to come here and train. And our interest is not only to teach the students of Hawaii, which is very important to keep them here for our workforce, but also to attract the domestic and international students from abroad.
And how exciting that these master chefs, that you read about or you see on television, would be guests for our students.
Oh yes, no doubt about it. We have one currently, and basically we started off this Master Chef series, and using the grant or endowment from the Gus lenders way back when that went to the culinary program, we're inviting these chefs now to be able to share that, and we're going to expand on that opportunity. So it's
very exciting.
Yeah, it's exciting time for us to be able to have this great resource to provide all that.
Well, thank you for sharing just a little snippet
mm-hmm.
and giving us a glimpse of what's possible, and for your leadership as well.
No, thank you very much for this opportunity. Greatly appreciated.
Very exciting to speak with Conrad Nonaka with the Culinary Institute of the Pacific. Thank you for joining us, and thank you so much. Mahalo to Aloha Stadium for hosting us, and to you for tuning in to Island Focus. I'm Lyla Berg. Aloha and malama pono. Take care of each other. See you soon.